My name is Jennifer Cunningham. I am Head of Talent Acquisition and Employee Experience for Hologic. We are a medical devices organisation, and we primarily focus on early detection and diagnosis rather than treatment of really key illnesses that probably have touched many of you at some point in your lives. My presentation today, I guess, isn't the typical employer branding topic, given that my journey so far at Hologic has really been all around the employee experience piece. So I actually only tagged on talent acquisition 3 weeks ago, so still very, very new. But it makes complete sense, really, when you think about the candidate journey all the way through to the employee experience journey, or the employee journey, should I say. But there are a few key things, really, that are kind of mulling around in the HR world at the moment, kind of these big buzzwords and phrases that we hear a lot. And a few people have mentioned it today. So data is a big one. We've all talked about that. We've heard it a lot in all of the presentations. Purpose, again, another big topic that everybody keeps talking about. If you follow the famous Simon Sinek, his big thing is find your purpose and all will be good with the world. I'm going to kind of dispel that myth just a little today. I love him and I believe in him, but it isn't the be-all and end-all. And then ultimately, again, Adam asked a question this morning around growth and profit. And if we're honest, all organisations have that in mind, regardless of what our purpose is. Every single business is here to make some money. Our business is no different. So before I kind of kick in, I know I've told you just a little bit about Hologic, and I'm going to show you a little bit about what we do. But had anybody ever heard of Hologic before today? Oh, Sarah, yeah. Oh, a couple of people. That is very impressive. Thank you. So I'm going to show you a little bit about one of our divisions. This is our breast and skeletal health. And again, this comes with a warning. This is a slightly emotional video, so if you're that way inclined, have a tissue at the ready. But this is basically a piece of the purpose that underpins our organisation for our breast and skeletal health organisation.
I won't be the last one to find a lump.
I won't be the last one to have test.
After test.
After test.
I won't be the last one to lose my hair.
I won't be the last one to lose my breast.
The crocodile snarled without
My kids won't be the last to read by a hospital bed.
This won't be the last time they say,
We found it in your bones.
We won't be the last to have to tell the children.
I won't be the last one to die of breast cancer. But there will be a last.
Pretty powerful, right? So anybody think that we are an organisation that has a purpose? Hands up. Okay, perfect. Thank you. We believe so too. And again, as I said, this was one of our divisions. So we have 4 main divisions in our organisation. Breast and skeletal health, as you just saw there. Diagnostics, which looks primarily at things like HPV, HIV, STIs, but now we're kind of moving into respiratory diseases, so flu vaccinations, Ebola, so really big kind of problems within the medical field. We also have our surgical division, and most recently, the one that we're really actually quite excited about, but for different reasons, is a medical aesthetics division. So yeah, we're quite excited to get those benefits on board. But when we brought that organisation into Hologic, it was a purchase, an acquisition that we made. There was a little bit of conflict around why is this life-saving organisation with such a great purpose now going after a medical aesthetics organisation? And actually, when you think about it, you think of people who have maybe a birth defect or a visible scar. The medical aesthetics division are now helping us to improve those kind of things as well. So as an organisation, we're now looking at the whole package of well-being, so mental health as well as physical health. So considering we have such a great purpose, I kind of almost want to go back a step prior to kind of me joining the business and where my work came from. In 2014, our current CEO, Steve McMillan, joined our organisation. And at that point, our organisation was deemed to be a value company. We had a huge stakeholder, a guy by the name of Carl Icahn, who's pretty well known across the world as being a very activist investor. And he was not happy with the performance of Hologic and was actively looking to split up and break down the organisation and sell it off in parts, almost Pretty Woman style, if you like. Part of the reason that he wanted to do that was that the US business was pretty flat, growing maybe 2 or 3%, and he didn't see any opportunity to grow that business outside of the US. Our international arm, which includes EMEA Canada, which is my region, and Asia Pacific, in total contributed to less than 20% of sales of our global organisation. So Steve decided to challenge Carl and kind of threw himself down almost on his sword and said, give me some time and I will make this organisation the success that you need it to be. And he did that in understanding that we needed to penetrate further the developed Western markets. But even then, the growth looked really impossible. So Steve set out on this journey of trying to understand what it was about our EMEA Canada and Asia Pacific regions, what was happening within that organisation that would enable us to unlock the potential of our employees. And so my role was born. So we then went on a phase of discovery, as probably lots of you do when kind of developing any kind of EVP or employer brand. And this for us was, as a recruiter, actually, from my side, took way too long. It was almost 12 months in the making. But given the fact that we are a scientific company, we needed to prove everything that we were doing. And actually, one of our mantras through doing this work has become prove, not promise, which is something that we're kind of almost living and dying by. But we did a pretty extensive piece of research, which included leadership interviews, focus groups. We had 27% participation in the focus groups. We then went out to all of our countries, so quite a big roadshow. We had 11 sessions in total, so actually presenting back to our business what we heard them say to us. We then held one big workshop where we went in to really test and validate what we thought we'd heard. Through that process, we had 47 employees actually nominate themselves to be part of this workshop. So as we mentioned earlier on the speaker session, up until this point, people didn't really want to get involved. And all of a sudden now, we're asking people to come to us and be filmed and to tell us their story. And 47 for us, out of a team of 900 people in the region, was actually pretty good. They were breaking cover and we were happy. And in the end, we ended up with 21 participants from across the organisation, functions, locations, divisions. And as we were kind of going through this process, what really surprised us, certainly from the focus groups, were the amount of crossovers between different regions, different locations, different silos that we had within the business, that actually they were all saying the same thing. And the three big themes that came out for us were this sense of pride. But that pride showed itself very, very differently depending on where you sat in the organisation. So if you were sat in a back office function, so HR, IT, legal, the pride was all around the people that they worked with, their abilities to overcome challenges, to think of new solutions, to break down barriers, and just to get the day-to-day stuff done. If our teams were sitting within the commercial functions, so the guys who are actually in the hospitals with the surgeons, teaching them how to use their products, our products, their pride was all around the purpose because they saw it every single day. They lived and breathed it every single day. And then our technical guys, so our R&D guys, our engineers, Their pride fell in the products. They knew the amount of effort that had gone into building these products, the rigorous testing, all of the approvals that we had to do, the case studies, the white papers. So all of a sudden we started to feel like, actually these are three really good things, but they're so inconsistent in their consistency that it was a bit of a worry for us. So what we really wanted to do was to start breaking this down and thinking, actually, we've got a really good opportunity here, that if we can connect all the different parts of our business with the three levels of pride, then we're probably onto a winner. The other thing that we started to hear was some of these smaller points that you see here. So things like respect and trust. When we were stood in front of our audiences, our employee groups, and saying, you all told us you feel trusted, there was literally a split in the room with some people going, yeah, absolutely, and then somebody else going, not me. So in the validation session, we really wanted to get underneath that. And actually what we discovered was it could be the simplest of behaviour from a manager that has a completely different impact on an employee. So on one hand, you would have an employee whose manager never calls, never emails, leaves them to it, and that employee felt empowered. They felt trusted. They were left alone to do it and not micromanaged. The other poor person is feeling completely neglected and unsupported. So that was another big thing for us of how do we really start to peel back these layers and get a level of consistency up. So what we started to do then was we wanted to layer it into context for our business. And actually, when we took this piece back out to the business, all of a sudden you could see everybody in the room nodding, because we took each of those elements and we laid it across the employee journey so it made sense to them in their day-to-day. So first of all, people were joining our organisation generally from within our industry, from one of our competitors, and they knew the quality of our products. So they were joining us because they knew about the quality of our products. Then they join and they're kind of left alone and they do 14 hours of regulatory training on a horrible Oracle system. Sorry if anybody in the room is from Oracle, but it's really painful. And they're kind of thinking, what on earth am I doing here? Like, why is it this hard? But then they think, you know what, this is just teething problems and I'm here already, so I'm going to stay. And they keep coming through and sticking with us because they believe that they can have that impact. Then they start to make some friends and some relationships, and they realize that actually we're a really good bunch of people. You know, everybody will help everybody. So they start to form those friendships and start to solve some of those problems. Then they may hit a challenge together and they start bonding through those challenges and overcoming those problems. And then they win. And this is probably one of the biggest things for us. I mean, our competitors are the likes of Siemens and GE and Philips and Stryker, some pretty big brands, Johnson & Johnson. And at the moment, our teams are doing really, really well in winning tenders against those organisations. So they all of a sudden get that sense of pride back again at the fact that they have won, and often against some of those bigger competitors. They then take that pride from their contribution and the impact that they have made and the legacy that they're creating. And they then renew their commitment to us and our organisation. So whilst this was all very good, what we actually discovered is we were just simply, day to day, getting in our own way. Processes were broken, systems were broken, we had siloed functions that weren't talking, and one function may have solved a problem, but for the fear of if they shared it, somebody would say, no, you're not allowed to do that. They all do this, and they keep it to themselves. They don't tell anybody else, so somebody else then faces the same problem. So what we decided to do was kind of almost a subdued internal employer brand, if you like. And from all of the findings that we took, what we really wanted to do was to drive a level of consistency across our organisation. And so we watered down, or we filtered down all of those findings into 4 key categories. And these are, I guess, the guiding principles that not only we as HR now follow, but also our leadership team. So I'm very, very fortunate, actually, at the time that we were rolling this out, we had a brand new regional president who went exactly through that employee journey as we were describing it. So he saw and felt it himself as an employee, which was brilliant because I then just got the tick of, yes, this is painful, go ahead and do it. So off the back of it, we went ahead and we created these 4 pillars. So as I said, guiding principles, they are not published to the organisation whatsoever. They are purely for our benefit internally. And what we have now started to do is to use these whenever we're building anything to do with signature moments across the employee journey. So by signature moments, I mean things like how you receive an offer, how we give an offer, the onboarding process, the performance conversations, all of those big moments that often cause employees a lot of anxiety when they're thinking about it. And we really underpinned all of this with the data. So whenever we're talking about onboarding, again, we went back out and we asked everybody what their onboarding experience was and what they wanted it to be in the future. So whilst these are very authentic to us now, they're very inconsistent. So our aim through this is to drive that level of consistency of I guess, through a subliminal messaging. So I've got another little video. It's not as emotional. It's just a little bit more around some of the work that we've actually done. And again, in complete transparency, we have literally just started this journey. There is absolutely nothing groundbreaking in anything that we have done, bar tweaking the odd little step here and there. And I'll refer back to the first speaker of the day, the lady from CT, where she was talking about just get started, just get moving. But actually, the results, which are also on the slide, are pretty impressive, that through just some very minor tweaks of wording offers and an onboarding program and just some little bits and pieces here, not only has our business turned around in terms of results, but our engagement scores kind of are driving that, and it's pretty clear to see. So in terms of engagement really driving business results, that's something that we are really, really proud of. As I said in the beginning of this talk, you know, we were ready to be kind of split up, broken down and sold off, to now as a region going to 5 quarters on the run of double-digit growth. And actually this year was supposed to be our foundation year. This was getting our house in order, fixing the problems for the rapid growth that we're expecting next year, which for us actually starts in October. So the other thing that I really wanted to mention is the division that I talked about in the beginning with that really compelling video, our breast and skeletal health, last year missed their target by 25%. A lot of what we have done in just this past 12 months, almost as a test bed, was with that particular division of our organisation. They are already beating this year's target by 19.3%. So in less than 12 months, they have gone from -25 to 19.3, just by feeling heard, understanding their sense of belonging, bringing down the silos and helping them connect to one another in a deeper way, and really celebrating them for who they are, for the people that they are. So what's next for us? So as I said, and as you will have seen there, pretty much everything that we have done so far has all been around the employee experience. Now with the double hat of talent acquisition, we will now look to bring this forward to the start of the journey, so the candidate experience, and really understand how we now take all of these findings and that great purpose and all of those amazing products and really help us to engage and talk to a different kind of talent for our organisation. So that's it.